Here's the Deal is proud to present our very first sponsor. It's B&G Chicago Catering. If you're in the mood for fresh, authentic Chicago style favorites, check out B&G Chicago Catering. Founded by two Marine vets, and no, there's no crayon flavors involved here. B&G Chicago Catering is professional mobile food cart service, well suited for large crowds and intimate gatherings. Currently serving the Metro Phoenix and Metro Tucson areas. B&G Chicago Catering will drive up to your next event, business storefront, or private party. Chicago classics like Chicago dogs, my personal favorite is the Italian beef, bratwurst, Polish sausage. They got tamales and more. All their food is made to order, hot and fresh, using only Vienna products. B&G Chicago Catering comes fully equipped and takes care of all the cleanup. So if you're looking for a way to give back to your employees and all the efforts they've been putting forth this year, need a last minute option for a small intimate birthday party, need to spotlight your storefront reopening, which hopefully they all get there soon, check out B&G Chicago Catering. You can find them at www.bgchicagocatering.com. You can follow them on Instagram at BG Chicago Catering 520. Give them a call at 520 262 7596. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Here's the Deal. I am your host, Chris Flowers, and I have the honor and the privilege to be introducing you to Ray Gonzalez, and he's got some things going on in the background over there. This is live radio, so that's the way it goes. I've had the privilege of knowing Ray for, like 15 years now? We've known each other for a long time. Yeah. And we used to work together over at Wells Fargo. He was my merchant card services guy, so I entrusted him with all my customers, and of course, he took care of my customers so very well. But then now Ray has gotten into his own business. He's an independent merchant card services representative, and there's nobody I feel more confident preferring business to than this guy. This guy's forgotten more about merchant card services, and he's just straight up honest with people about all the ins and the outs and the do's and the don'ts and all the dirty little things that the salespeople won't talk to you about. So let me introduce Ray Gonzalez. He's going to tell you a little bit more about his company and what he does, and we're going to get into some of those trade secrets. So, Ray, take it away, man.
Thank you, Chris. Hello, my name is Raymond. I am founder, co-owner of Nexgen Payment Solutions. And as Chris mentioned, my background is merchant processing. I used to work for a few of the biggest banks in the industry, and one day just decided I could do this on my own and offer competitive rates and pricing to customers out there that in some cases banks might overcharge them.
And some the dirty little fees that nobody wants to talk to you about and things like that. That you always disclose to people.
Yeah, so there was a couple of usually when a rep comes in asking or they're pitching you merchant processing, one of the first things a customer will ask or a merchant will ask is, what's the rate? And usually the rep would give them an introductory rate, and basically, this is 2% and 20 cents is what I'll charge you. And as you mentioned before, some of the dirty secrets, there's a couple of pricing structures out there that might not be the best pricing structure out there for merchants. Nope. And what you had mentioned, Chris, was tiered pricing, or what we call qual, mid-qual, non. And for those of you that don't know what tiered pricing is, it basically introduces you to a introductory base rate, as I mentioned earlier, of 2% and 20 cents. And then there's a mid-qualified rate and a non-qualified rate. And what that is those are your card types that are non-credit and signature debit. So they'll put you in a bucket for your reward card, the card not present, in a mid-qualified bucket. And then they'll put you in for business cards or cards that you processed it and meet criteria, will put you in a non-qualified transaction. And that's where your rates get higher at that point. Like I said, Chris, when a qualified rate, you're looking at 2% and 20 cents. On a mid-qualified rate, you could be looking at 2.5 and 20 cents, or a non-qualified rate, of 3% and 20 cents.
And of course, they're not going to
And
tell you
so,
that up front, right?
correct. In some cases, you disclose it, and you as a merchant, if you see something mid-qual or non-qual, you need to ask them the question, what is this charge for? When will I be charged? Because again, about 30% of your business is going to qualify at that base rate of 2%. And that's where anything that gets processed is stick you in that bucket with really no details of the story of your processing history. Now, Chris, there's another trade, a little secret that I like to share. And in this case, this is what we call rate plus pricing. And how that works is same as tiered pricing, the qualified rate. You get a base rate of 2% and 20 cents. At that point, if you get a card that doesn't qualify at that 2% and 20 cents, any cards that are a non-standard credit card or a debit card, let's say it's a reward card. What that pricing structure does is charges you the 2% and 20 cents, and then it charges you the cost difference between the standard credit or debit card and that card that was processed. And let's say in this point, it's a 30 basis point difference. So now you're paying a qualified rate of 2.30% and 20 cents. Now, this is where the dirty little secret is. With that pricing type structure, there's a surcharge with pricing. And Chris, I don't know if you remember what built back pricing was.
No, that was your area of expertise, not mine.
So what that means is build back pricing. Some might say enhanced build back or build back surcharge. What that does is that is straight to the processor. So this is pure profit for the actual company that's providing you the service. They'll charge anywhere from 1.99 to 2.99%. So what that means, Chris, we all have reward cards now.
Right.
If I take my reward card and go down the street to the restaurant, pay with my reward card, well, that reward card is going to cost that customer at a base rate of, let's say, 2.50 and 20 cents. Because my card is a reward card, that company, if they have that bill back surcharge in place, can charge another 2.99% on top of that 2.50.
Wow, so
now you're looking at
5-6%.
Now you're looking at well over 5%
wow.
of an effective rate of what you paid. So that right there is something that I would probably have your listeners take a look at. If anything is related to enhanced bill back, you want to know what that is, because again, that could really increase your rates. You could be thinking, hey, I'm supposed to be only paying 2%, but my overall effective rate is, maybe 5 or 6%.
Wow.
That's where you'd want to consult with someone like me who could tell you, or maybe find out what you're paying, or ask the right questions to your.
So now they're working with their bank, which they're entrusting their bank to give them the best possible deal. Is it different because you're an independent and you work differently, or how does that work since you're independent?
Well, two things. Being independent, I have my own what we call buy rates, and the biggest difference between working for a bank and being on your own is the buy rates are a little bit smaller, but with the bank, I think what happens to the sales reps is they get pressured into pushing sales. And industry, I don't believe in that. I don't believe in, setting someone up, signing them up, and then they never hear from you again. That's not how you do business in the industry. You have to not only help a merchant get set up, but you have to set up their equipment, train them on their equipment, be there for them if they call you, and basically be a part of their business, because that's how important processing is. Processing is how all businesses make their money today. If you don't take a credit card, you might be losing business.
I can personally attest
And
I know this because I've seen the man do it. And I said, there's nobody I trust in this business more than Ray Gonzalez. I've seen him go above and like way above and beyond. Like I said, setting up machines, training people. When he says that this is what should be done, I mean, this is what he does day in, day out. He's done it when he did it at Wells, he did it at B of A. I've seen it firsthand. My customers have bragged about it. They loved it. So that's why, I wanted to get him on the show because, like just like Ray was saying a couple seconds ago, this is the lifeblood of your business. Everybody takes credit cards. Everybody takes debit cards. You have to. It's impossible not to. But at the same time, you got to know what your real, true effective rate is going to be. And that's the thing I love about Ray. He's always been a straight shooter, always been up front. Now, granted, he's not a veteran. So some people are like, oh, hey, I'm going to have people on here that aren't veterans, but these are the straightest shooters you're going to get in these career fields. Okay. So, like I said, even though he's quote unquote not a veteran, there's nobody in this business I trust more than this man. So that's why I wanted to have him on, especially because for all the veteran business owners out there, this is absolutely like, so the name of my company is called VEBS, Veteran Essential Business Services. This is one of those essential business services that's absolutely mandatory that you got to have. Sorry to cut you off there, Ray, but I just wanted to attest to personally attest to. I know for a fact that you walk this walk, and I've seen you do it for 15 years.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. And and if there's anything I could share out there to your listeners is running a business is already hard enough.
Right.
One of the last things you want to do is maybe sit your processing. And if you have to take a look at your statements, or if you have a hard problem understanding it, or you feel you weren't really explained how it works, reach out. Chris could give you my information, and I'm free to offer a free consultation and let you know what you're really
Go ahead and
paying.
share that information with everybody, Ray. We'll share it at the end of the show.
That information. Yeah, great. And they could take that information to the bank if they really like their bank services, but they want to know more about what they're really paying. Then they could take that information and go to their bank and basically say, hey, I want you to put me in this pricing structure or lower my pricing to this. But I would say out there to this is the best pricing structure you could possibly be on is in my opinion, interchange pricing, where it's basically you're getting passed on the same cost as the processor would be paying with a per transaction fee on top of it.
Okay, and then let's talk about the big thing out there. Everybody's on Square. Let's talk about Square a little bit, where it's a good fit, where it might work, and where it might work to switch off of that particular product, because that's like the most probably famous one out there.
Yeah, and Square has its niche. I have no bad things to say about Square. It in my opinion, it's a good product for someone that basically wants to be on a pay-as-you-go merchant services program. If you don't use it for a certain amount of months, you don't have to pay a monthly fee or a minimum processing fees. 2.75 is pretty competitive for swiping. Where it's not competitive is if you have to hand key enter those transactions, and for those Square users out there, the card not present transaction fee is 3.5%, and I believe it's 15 cents. So who I would recommend Square to is those customers that are maybe doing 1 to 5 transactions a month, very minimal. They have one here or there, and they don't want to have to worry about paying a monthly fee to keep the service active.
What about if you're already running like a coffee shop or you're running a restaurant? And I've seen those terminals and things like that.
Yeah. And I was, it's a great point, Chris. If I were starting a business, let's say a coffee shop, in my opinion, I think Square is a good starting point. They're flat 2.7. Well, now today it's 2.65 cents. If your average ticket is less than 10, they are very good in my opinion. Where I think where you should be able to move or look into other services if Square's not a perfect fit for you is if you're doing over $10,000 or more in volume per month. That's where someone like me, a sales agent, could come in and show you paying the flat fee. Yeah, it was great. when you were processing under 10,000. Now that you are over 10,000 or above, this is what it's costing you. Where if we had you on a interchange program, you could be paying $200 compared to $275. Now, $75 a month savings doesn't seem like a lot, but it adds up after a 1, 2, 3 year saving process. And that's where we're looking at. And then also at that point too, when you're thinking about going to another processor, think about a gift card program for yourself as well, especially today.
That's huge. Yeah, that's huge.
One of the other things that I help my customers with is helping them create their online ordering sites. If you're a restaurant and you don't have anything that's out there where someone could order online, and you're interested in doing something like that, we could help with that.
Okay, do you set them up on like a platform on a website or something like that? What happens if somebody has a website and they want to take cards?
Yeah, so if 100% merchants would have to have a site built already. If they want a site from scratch, there is a service for that. But if they already have a website, which mostly do, what we would do is you would use integration WordPress page, and from there we would provide a link to that page. And once the customer, that link would be our button would be added to the customer's website, the merchant's website, and from there the customer would be able to click that button when they're ready to order, and that would direct them to a ordering page where they'd be able to order their items, pay for their items, and depending on the POS system that you have, you can either send it to your POS system or it could send it to a tablet, just like a delivery service.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So, like I said, you being independent, I think what is maybe something. Again, this is just such a vital piece. It's such a vital tool for your business, and I just really want to give everybody out there, like I said, if they're thinking about starting a business, or again, if you're already up and running, you're using Square, and you're saying like, yeah, I do over 10,000 a month. Maybe I should take a look at something like that. Again, what would you think? You think the biggest thing? I mean, other than I know your character, I know your wife, I know your kids. So I mean, it's different for us. But what's the one thing that you being independent? Because like I said, the banks have their people, and they're pushing sales, things like that. What's the one thing that you can offer my listeners out there that like I said they think they're missing in the banks?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Chris. I haven't met a lot of people in this industry that say they've been doing it for 15 years, especially at the bank level. Again, as I mentioned earlier, when working at the bank, it's all about sales. It's all about units. If you don't produce, you're usually gone within a year and a half. So you're always dealing with someone new to the industry, doesn't even really understand how to break down a statement or how to set up a terminal, not even a POS. So to work with someone who has 15 years experience and where merchant began. I mean, there was a point where we were everything was over the phone, or we had I don't know if you remember this, Chris, the twin trans unit, the little square box with the separated printer that made a ton of noise.
Remember that? Yeah, yes, we're that.
Transitioning to the Verifone. yeah, Verifone, Hypercoms, transitioning to that. And then to what we have today.
What the hell is
that? Yeah, what's Hypercom? They've been out of business for quite a while. But what we have today, everything is a tablet solution. And the solution I use is a Clover solution. It's been a product that I've been using and selling and providing to restaurant owners, coffee shops. And it's a great product, but again, you have these sales reps pushing this product and doesn't even know how to set it up or sell it. You can't call them for customer service because again, they don't know the product. I get calls every day I'll give you an example. Yesterday, I was working on a website for a client, and the great thing about Clover is you have a dashboard where you could be remotely, you could have remote access, and you can make changes. You could add items, delete
Oh, that's
items. You
sweet.
could pretty much do whatever you want at the station level, but through a web browser. I was working on a client site, and I mistakenly hit a reset button. And
the great
next thing I
Ray
know,
Gonzalez makes mistakes. Get out of there.
yeah, yeah. I hit a reset button because I wasn't paying attention, and next thing I know, within 5 minutes, I'm getting calls from the 6 locations. Um, knowing after they explained what had happened, I knew exactly what went on. Is basically all the settings in regards to where food is sent and where it's directed. It got reset as well, and I knew where to go to fix that. And a fire that could have turned into a blaze, I was able to get resolved in 15 minutes because after I knew what was going on after that first call, and again knowing my product, I was able to call the other 5 stores and walk them through the setting change, and we pretty much averted, like I said, a blaze. It would have gone pretty bad because all the online orders were not printing anything, nothing was printing, and so that's not good for a restaurant.
No, but like I said, but you took ownership of it, and hey, you owned up to it,
Yeah,
and
but that only happens if you know your product, and again, knowing what you're selling, and again, at the bank level, you got your good reps, but then you have a lot more of your newer reps that really don't know, and the bank is training them to maximize profit. Um, one of the things is, like we talked about today, is rate plus bill back.
right.
If you have that pricing structure, yeah. Again, I'm going to give you a scenario, Chris. I'm coming to you and say, hey, Chris, I'm going to give you 1.50 and 20 cents. You'll think, hey, that's a good rate.
I'll take that.
And then Chris, and every time I pay you with my reward card, it's going to cost you 2% and 20 cents. Okay, that sounds good. Oh, and Chris, on top of that, I'm going to charge you another 2.99. Would you sign on the dotted
Now,
line?
yeah, but you just lost me on that one. Yeah, I'm like, no.
And so that's where I fear that is not being told to merchants if they're set up on that pricing structure.
Okay, like I said, I know that there's been a lot of great information that Ray's given to us, but we also know that it's a lot to take in, especially on a small podcast and things like that. So what I want to do is I want to give Ray a minute just to give out his name, his contact information one more time. And if anybody's out there, you have a question about your current processing or you're thinking about starting a place and things like that, because as you've heard here, if Ray thinks that Square is the right product for you, he's going to tell you that. Okay. And I know that because I've seen him do it. Okay. Personally have seen it done. So he's going to get into his contact information. If you want him to take a look at your stuff, or if you have questions, or you have questions about your statement, things like that, the guy is like a merchant statement ninja. I've just seen him go through this thing like a surgeon, man. So go ahead and give everybody your information.
Yes, hey, Chris. Again, it's Raymond Gonzalez. Nexgen Payment Solutions is my company name. Now it's spelled Nexgen Payments. No T on next. Nexgen Payment Solutions. My direct contact number is 623-850-1276. And if any of your listeners out there are interested in a free consultation, all I need is 2 or 3 months of your processing statements, and I could do a breakdown for you. We could do it either online through a meeting portal, and we could go over your statements, and I could explain to you every fee that's being charged and any question that you may have, so you could have a better understanding.
Give me your email and your website too.
Yeah. My email is nexgenpayments@gmail.com, and you could do a Google search under Nexgen Payments, and you could find my website information.
Okay, that's great. Like I said, this is a ton of information to take care of, but it's like I said, obviously it's the lifeblood of your business. So you better take this seriously, and you better be willing to ask questions, because I know it's quick, it's simple, it's easy just to get on Square and just set it and forget it. Okay, but again, if you want to get to that next level in business, okay, well, like I said, you start out, you're doing trade shows, or you got a little hot dog cart. Let's say you're doing, very few transactions. Okay, maybe let's say maybe that's a good product. But let's say if I see this all the time. I see Square and these terminals and everything at coffee shops. I know for a fact they're doing way over what way over 10 grand in business. Like I said, they need to be talking to Ray and switching that over. So I wanted to thank Ray for sharing his expertise, coming on the show. Like I said, I appreciate him being a friend for 15 years, and like I said, I've worked. I've always felt so good about referring my people to him. It's just I know if I send somebody to Ray, he's going to do it right. He's going to take care of them. So I just wanted to appreciate him coming on the show and sharing his expertise in a field that's critical to any business. We're about to wrap it up here. And so, as usual, what I like to do at the end of the show with my listeners, first of all, I got to thank Jesus Christ for being my Lord and Savior and forgiving me for my sins and allowing me to do what I love to do here, whether it's in business banking or whether it's helping veterans, improve their businesses, things like that. Got to thank my family, my wife and kids for supporting me in this endeavor and everything that I do. Got to give a shout out to my man Mario over at Fallen 360. I was just a guest on his show today. That show's coming out on Tuesday. So just for everything that he's done for this particular show. And wanted to say thank you for everybody out there for your support, listening in. Remember, if you see it on social media, like, comment, share. Like, comment, share. If you want to help this show out and reach more people and be able to help more veterans in business, like, comment, share. Like, comment, share. Get on the show and subscribe to the podcast. Ray, again, thanks for taking the time to give that vital, crucial knowledge. And thanks for being a friend. And thanks for always taking care of my clients, man.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you.
All right, my brother. I appreciate you. Tell Angel and the kids to say hi. And we're out, man.